It's Monday, June 15th. This is CTV at 6. Here's what's making news tonight. Moncton gets new gear to help the rapid response to its overdose crisis. High-priced hotels. Why are rooms so expensive in Halifax this season?
Showers clearing east of the Maritimes Tuesday morning. Sunnier and warmer through midweek.
Live from our Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Todd Battis.
Good evening. Canada's drug czar announced fewer people are dying of overdoses in this country. In Moncton, the number of overdoses has never been higher. Emergency crews have a new piece of gear to help save others and themselves. CTV's Derek Haggett shows us how the fire department is now responding to the city's crisis.
The Moncton Fire Department has begun using a rapid response vehicle as the city continues to cope with an overdose crisis. With a crew of 2 instead of 4, the smaller vehicle will help alleviate some of the stress placed on the bigger trucks and its crews.
Now, it can go to assist on fires or extrication or stuff like that, but its primary role is to go to medical calls.
That includes overdoses. Since May 29, the Moncton Fire Department has responded to 290 overdose or poisoning calls. Teams at the Harvest House Homeless Shelter have managed 428 toxic overdose responses in the past 2 weeks. 50% of those needed naloxone administered to revive the victim. Ambulance New Brunswick has responded to well over 300 calls during the same time frame. Landry says the unprecedented numbers are taking a toll on the mental health of his firefighters.
Not just the amount of call, but just seeing these people struggling and you arrive on a scene, someone's unconscious, and you're wondering what happened in their life to bring them to this level.
Service was supposed to start July 1st, but because of the staggering numbers, it began Friday night.
I've been to calls where we've had 2 units at the same address because the first units arrived. There's been an overdose, and we've witnessed the second one, but we're tied up working on the first person, so yeah, it's been a lot.
The city is paying overtime for the separate crews, but Landry says they're in funding discussions with the province. Frontline agency workers tell CTV News there's been 1 known overdose fatality since May 29. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Moncton.
A man has died following a single vehicle crash in Alliston, Prince Edward Island. Sunday morning, officers were called to a rollover on Route 4. A 33-year-old man from Kings County was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say he was the only person in the vehicle at the time of that crash. And online, a 49-year-old man from Maine has been found guilty of murder in the 2024 killing of a man in Esconobadich First Nation in northeastern New Brunswick. Details at ctvnewsatlantic.ca. Have you or someone you know booked a hotel in Halifax recently? Well, if so, you know just how high the prices have become. It's not unusual to see rates of $500 a night and more. CTV's Jonathan McGuinness tells us why.
Finding an affordable hotel room in Halifax right now is about as easy as seeing the city through the fog. A quick scroll through a booking site for this weekend shows a stay in the downtown core will cost anywhere from $400 to $700 a night.
I'd like to see more, particularly in the downtown area.
The CEO of the Downtown Dartmouth Business Commission says he hears complaints from people all the time about the cost of a hotel stay.
Lots of times visitors are saying to me that they're paying $300-400 for hotel rooms. So we'd like to see maybe if there was more supply, that would moderate prices a little bit.
Rusesco would like to see some of that supply pop up on the Dartmouth side of the harbour.
We have a few hotels out in Burnside and Dartmouth Crossing, and then there's a number out near the airport, but right in downtown Dartmouth, we don't have a hotel right now.
So this is our bar, as well as our check-in here.
5 hotels have been built in the last 5 years in downtown Halifax. Moxie is one of them, opening its first location in Canada back in 2024, adding 160 rooms to the city's core.
Halifax is just such an up-and-coming city. There's always so many events.
One of those events is Sail GP, which is happening this weekend. It'll bring in thousands of people from around the world, many of them for an extended stay.
People look at our event calendar in Halifax and book their stays around that. So when you have something like Sail GP, they come for the event, but they stay just to explore.
Moxie's Rachel Spicer confirms they are close to being sold out for the weekend. Non-resident overnight stays peak in July and August, and so will room prices. Currently, Halifax has 7,000 hotel rooms across the HRM. Well, Todd, according to Discover Halifax's annual report, a record 2 million hotel room nights were booked in 2025. And with this year off to a strong start, Todd, we could be on the verge of setting that record again.
Wow, very impressive.
Todd.
Thank you. Yep, thank you, John, from downtown Halifax this evening. Let's make this a CTV web poll. We're going to ask you this. Have you found hotel rooms to be more expensive so far this summer? Your options are yes or no, or maybe you haven't checked yet. You can check in the poll at ctvnewsatlantic.ca. There's a live look at the Confederation Bridge at 5 minutes after 6 o'clock. 16 degrees, not very busy on the Confed right now. Let's get our first look at the forecast and bring in CTV meteorologist Kayla Mitchell. Maybe that's because people aren't thinking about vacation right now.
Yeah, dreary conditions across the Maritimes to get this week started. And for this evening and tonight, it is showers, drizzle, and fog. Low risk of thunderstorms within the showers, especially for the province of Nova Scotia. Currently, the band of most widespread showers is making its way into eastern areas of New Brunswick. St. John on the tail end of that now. It's going to be filling in towards Moncton in the southeast over the next couple of hours. Showers crossing parts of Prince Edward Island. Area of rain just off the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia, but is bringing a chance of showers for communities on the Atlantic coastline as it passes by, and there is some more wet weather expected as we move through tonight as this weather front continues to move through. Now, of course, the cloudy skies and the occasional wet weather, it's keeping temperatures down a bit for today. Temperatures at this hour mostly in the mid to high teens, a few at 20 degrees, including Charlottetown at this hour. Taking a look at the winds out of the east and southeast, they're being sustained between 10 and 30 kilometers per hour. We're getting a few gusts reported between 40 kilometers per hour. As the front moves through, the wind direction is going to be changing. We can expect a northwest wind on Tuesday for the Maritimes. While on the topic of the winds, we have one wind warning in effect. It's not for this evening or tonight. Instead, it's for Tuesday morning into early Tuesday afternoon. While the winds are still out of the southeast in Cape Breton, they'll get some enhancement over the Cape Breton Highlands. So northern Inverness County underneath a wind warning. Some of the peak southeast wind gusts getting up to around 90 kilometers per hour. Here's a look at the wind forecast in around the Grand Etang area of Cape Breton. You can see the winds steadily climbing as we make our way through the morning, kind of reaching a peak around the late morning hours, possibly early afternoon. And then after that, those winds will be diminishing and eventually changing wind direction, becoming northwest like the remainder of the region. But I'll have more in the forecast when I'm back a little bit later on, Todd.
Okay, we'll see you in about 15 minutes for that. Thank you, Kaylin. A St. John police officer detailed how he tracked down the location where a man accused of murdering 2 boys purchased a nail gun that he then used to try to kill himself. Here's CTV's Nick Moore from court.
The first-degree murder trial has entered its second week with testimony today from a St. John police officer and a St. John Correctional Centre officer. Roman Commissioner has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of 2 boys aged 10 and 17 on January 29, 2025. He has pleaded not guilty to both charges. It is alleged that Commissioner stabbed the 2 boys to death before attempting to take his own life with a nail gun to his head. Today, the 14 jurors heard testimony from a St. John police officer who was assigned to locate where the nail gun and nails were purchased. Detective Constable Scott Prentice told the court that he tracked the items as being purchased at the Home Depot in St. John on January 25th, 2025, and that a receipt from the store matched Commissioner's bank records. The court also heard testimony today from a St. John Correctional Centre officer who said she was handed a letter from Commissioner in November 2025. Melissa Larson testified Commissioner had been having conversations with her about wanting his protective custody classification changed in the correctional center. The letter was entered into evidence. A court-ordered publication ban prevents the names of the 2 boys from being revealed, Previous court rulings have allowed the media to describe the case as one that involves alleged domestic violence. Court is scheduled to resume tomorrow morning, with the prosecution planning to bring 2 expert witnesses to the stand. Todd.
CTV's Nick Moore at the courthouse in St. John. Halifax commuters are still talking about the traffic headache over the weekend. The McKay Bridge was closed and a collision backed up the highway around the city. Then the Harbour Ferry service was disrupted. As CTV's Callum Smith tells us, you can blame that on the traffic.
Despite the fog, it's all systems go for Halifax's ferry service, but that wasn't the case Saturday afternoon, when it was a perfect storm of issues getting across the harbour by land and water.
A bit of a cascading failure on that Saturday.
The McKay Bridge had a scheduled weekend closure for repairs. Halifax Harbour Bridges had covered Alderney ferry fees for riders, but for about 1 hour Saturday, a staffing shortage prevented the lone ferry service from running. The city declined to explain the staffing shortage, but Councillor Sam Austin says the reason was connected to the bridge closure.
The ferry was delayed on the crew change because the crew couldn't get to the ferry to run it because they were stuck in traffic.
He says gone are the days when a bridge closure is simply an inconvenience.
You can't close them without gridlocking the city, and so that is a challenge.
And that heavy traffic put a stop to the harbour service. But it was the first full weekend of service for the new electric water taxi. The 12-seater taxi offers point-to-point service for tourists and locals getting around the harbour. The private company heard from people when the ferry went down.
We got people that were inquiring, wondering if they can get across the harbour.
Unfortunately for the business and for riders, they closed for the day.
Next time we'll be there for them.
Halifax Mayor Andy Fillmore has been suggesting a need for a public-private partnership to help shuttle people across the harbour. The water taxi wants to fill a void when needed and work together with Halifax Transit.
We want to work with them and figure out how this service can complement what they're offering. So it really is around making sure that, we stay out of their way and we help move people around the city.
He says they would like to expand hours and vessels as demand grows. Meanwhile, a third-party review of Halifax's public ferry service comes to council next week. Callum Smith, CTV News, Halifax.
Meanwhile, this is a new day for transit users in Cape Breton. Riders can now tap and go on buses. A technology that's pretty commonplace elsewhere is now available in the CBRM, but not in the region's biggest city. CTV's Ryan McDonald reports.
The bus stop at the corner of George and Pitt Streets in Sydney was a busy spot today, the first day of a new tap-and-go pay system for CBRM Transit.
This has been a modernization that we've been working on for some time now.
No, just tap.
Oh, I see where now.
Yep.
I see it now, yeah, okay.
Try to lay it flat. There you go, look at that.
Indeed, all people have to do now is hop on a bus and scan a debit or credit card or a reloadable transit card to get a ride anywhere.
I will get used to it. I'm 84 years old, but I'm getting used to all of this new technology. My children order me too.
Because it's a lot easier than worrying about having money, $5 a day on the bus.
Okay. You can try those transfers to see if they'll work. Go ahead.
People can transfer from one bus to another too through the new system. Interestingly, this kind of tap-and-go payment doesn't exist on Halifax Transit in the provincial capital, where people still buy physical tickets or pay with exact change or by using an app.
No, you don't hear it every day that we've actually had something before Halifax, which is very rare.
There's a new price too, a flat rate of $2.50, whether you're going just around town or like the bus behind me to the north side, which is about a 20-kilometer bus ride away.
It depends on where you're going. If you're going for a longer ride or making a transfer, it's cheaper. If you're going for just a quick little short ride, it could be more expensive.
Before the influx of international students into the community, transit buses in Cape Breton were often empty. Now there's a hope that making it easier for people to ride might get some new people using the service who didn't in the past.
We've come a long way with the transit system in the last decade. It's gone from being a very underutilized service in the community to being one that we had issues with too many people needing to use it. And hopefully now we're leveling off into a modern system that serves the community well.
No matter what, though, some people will continue to pay for their ride the old-fashioned way.
$2.50, sir, yes.
Frequent riders can still buy an unlimited use pass for $66. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Sydney.
And if you drive on diesel, You'll be interested in knowing the price of a litre will change at midnight in Nova Scotia. The province's Energy Board says the change is due to a significant shift in the market price of diesel. The price of gasoline, that's not changing at all tonight. Could natural gas extraction be revived in New Brunswick? The province is maintaining its ban of hydraulic fracturing, but there's pressure from Ottawa to change that. We get more from Anna Mandan, who tonight we welcome as our new Fredericton reporter.
Conversations around development of New Brunswick's natural gas industry are heating up again, with calls to open up dialogue on dropping a moratorium on hydraulic fracturing exploration.
The whole globe is, desperately looking for energy resources like natural gas. We've got an excellent opportunity to export to European markets.
For one industry advocate, it's an opportunity for renewed conversations.
We need to decide what's the future for Atlantic Canada. What do Atlantic Canadians want? And what does that energy future really look like?
While the New Brunswick Anti-Shale Gas Alliance is concerned about potential impacts of such an industry.
There is absolutely no reason in the world, if you believe the scientists and pretty much most of the world's economists, to be producing new gas and oil projects of any kind.
For her part, the Premier wasn't getting drawn into a debate about dropping the moratorium, instead talking about developing the province's natural resources overall and the relationship with the Carney government.
We are working very hard to build a productive relationship with the federal government and make sure that New Brunswick gets more than our fair share.
In an email today, New Brunswick MP Dominic LeBlanc's spokesperson says it's up to the province whether or not to lift its current ban on natural gas development, but that the federal government would be very supportive if the province did remove it. A spokesperson for Premier Susan Holt says there's no update on development and that the moratorium remains in place. The moratorium was introduced in 2014 on all hydraulic fracturing until the risks to health, water, and the environment are fully understood. Anna Mandan, CTV News, Fredericton.
And again, welcome to Anna. As Canadians continue to grapple with a surge in scams, new data shows many believe conversations are needed around the issue. But as CTV's Vanessa Wright tells us, few Maritimers are actually having those discussions.
You don't have to go far to find someone who's been burned by a scam.
I was scammed like 3 months ago.
According to a TD survey, 57% of Atlantic Canadians believe having open conversations about fraud could help prevent scams and protect their finances.
I think it will be helpful if we talk about it.
The more people know, the more they're able to protect themselves against it and take some measures to make sure it doesn't happen again or it doesn't happen to them.
To make sure that people have an understanding of what's possible now these days, especially with all the new technology.
62% say regular conversations about it would make them feel less vulnerable, but very few of us are actually having those conversations.
About 1/3 of Atlantic Canadians say they'd feel too embarrassed to tell anyone if they've been scammed, and only 27% they've avoided talking about their experiences altogether. So there's a bit of hesitation there.
The data shows Gen Z is even more reluctant to talk about it.
They are kind of looked at as the generation that should, know better, right? They're connected in online, they're on social media, they're seeing these things potentially on a daily basis. They feel the embarrassment might even be stronger there with them because the expectation is a little bit higher.
Was it embarrassing? Did you feel like it was kind of embarrassing?
Yeah, I feel so ashamed because I was like, oh my God, I was so stupid. It was like, how can I believe the things they told me,
Especially with how sophisticated fraudsters have become, the conversation with family and loved ones is needed now more than ever.
I think the more we talk about it, the more we'll understand what is a scam and what isn't a scam, and they're trying to play off your kindness. Yep. It's not because you're a bad person. They targeted you because you're a good person.
Vanessa Wright, CTV News, Halifax.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
We're hearing from a family who moved halfway across the country to Nova Scotia, thinking they would enjoy a lower cost of living. While they say they love being here, their struggle with high prices and taxes might force them to leave. CTV's Paul Hollingsworth reports on a decision they and others are facing.
Haley Bogdan moved to Nova Scotia in 2022 with her husband and 2 children, expecting a cheaper cost of living. But the last 4 years have been a major disappointment.
We came here for a better life than we were getting in Ontario.
Expensive groceries, gas, and rising home heating costs are just a few of the items that have put Bogdan's family in a precarious financial situation.
Well, I had no debt and a great credit score before I moved here, and now that I've moved here, I am in debt.
At one point, Bogdan was forced to buy groceries with her credit card.
I had to stop it because it's maxed out and I couldn't keep up with the payments.
When Bogdan first moved to Nova Scotia, her rent was $1,200 a month. Now it's more than twice that amount. A recent study shows Nova Scotia has become the most expensive province in Canada for apartment and condo rentals. A new snapshot from Stats Canada also shows Canadian household debt is outpacing incomes. Experts say affordability issues in this province are linked to the average Nova Scotia income, which is down compared to the rest of the country.
More than $10,000 at an individual level, right after tax, and we're about $25,000 down versus the average family.
Retail analyst Bruce Winder is calling for all levels of government to prioritize investing in industry growth, which could lead to increased wages.
So they can increase productivity, output per person, and that'll increase profits and enable them to pay higher wages.
Until then, Bogdan hopes for a better and more affordable quality of life.
My husband and I have both been trying to find a second job
that doesn't include a crushing amount of debt. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Dartmouth, Nova Scotia.
We'll take our first break of the evening with the full maritime weather forecast on the other side. Still to come, though, watch your language.
This journey, I'll call it a journey.
A provincial tour is setting out to get opinions about the state of bilingualism in New Brunswick. Stay with us.
This is the Campfire Conditions Report, brought to you by Pine Acres RV, where customers become friends. It's cool and damp weather to start this week in the province of New Brunswick, and campfires are currently permitted. In the province of Nova Scotia, we do find a mix of restrictions. Campfires are currently permitted in Cape Breton, in Antigonish County, and in Cumberland County between 2 p.m. and 8 a.m. For much of the remainder of the province, campfires are allowed between 7 p.m. and 8 a.m., except a campfire ban still in effect for Queens County on the south shore of Nova Scotia. And for Prince Edward Island, campfires are currently permitted, with domestic brush burning allowed between the hours of 2 p.m. and 8 a.m. Please be sure to check in on municipal restrictions and bylaws as well.
Recent rulings on bilingualism in New Brunswick around the role of the lieutenant governor in liquor sales come as a committee kicks off a province-wide tour to gauge opinion as part of a year-long review of the Official Languages Act. Here again is CTV's Nick Moore.
Bonjour et bienvenue. The New Brunswick Government Standing Committee on Official Languages is taking its review of the Official Languages Act on a provincial tour. This journey, I'll call it a journey. The committee has already held 4 public meetings at the legislature, which has included a discussion on extending obligations under the Official Languages Act to privately operated nursing homes regulated by the provincial government.
Alors c'est certain que je m'attends pas que demain matin.
Nicole Arsenault-Slater is president of the Acadian Society of New Brunswick and says in French that she does not expect a nursing home in St. John to be full of French-speaking staff tomorrow, but says 1 or 2 would be a start. The New Brunswick Association of Nursing Homes says official bilingualism cannot come at the expense of increasing hours of care in nursing homes.
You need to take a needle and thread the tapestry. You know, you can't hit it with a hammer.
A separate ruling from the Commissioner of Official Languages last month found that private third-party operators of provincial functions must provide bilingual service based on a complaint made at an ANBL agency store. While French language training is not a focus of the Act, it was touched on several times during the meeting so far.
Classroom French through French immersion will not make you a bilingual, but if you have these experiences that allow you to use French in your daily life, that allow you to interact with the Francophone community, that is what, that is the piece, I think, that will allow it.
The Commissioner of Official Languages also made a presentation recommending provincial legislation that public servants have the right to work and be supervised in the official language of their choice.
And it's certainly been in place federally for many years now under the Official Languages Act, and there really is no reason why it shouldn't be here.
Last week, the Supreme Court of Canada issued a decision that lieutenant governors in New Brunswick must be bilingual when appointed. Premier Susan Holt says it is a decision she supports and was asked by reporters about the level of bilingualism that a premier or cabinet minister in New Brunswick should have.
I mean, that's something that we're working on. You can see the hard work of my team every day to build up those important communication skills with New Brunswickers, because it's really important to us.
Public consultations on New Brunswick's Official Languages Act begins tomorrow morning in Grand Falls and will hit 9 locations in all before wrapping up later this month in Woodstock. Nick Moore, CTV News, Fredericton.
Still to come on your newscast on this Monday evening, how long will the soggy conditions continue? Kalen Mitchell has been tasked with answering that question. He'll have the results after this. Oh, Kalen Mitchell, where to start with this image? This has got everything. This is Digby right now. It's 19 degrees. There's a peak of blue sky in there, but you've also got a very ominous cloud front there.
Dramatic scene at Digby. Use the word front. That's exactly what's going on, Todd. Digby's getting close to the back edge of this weather front that's making its way across the Maritime. So you can see that in behind the front there is going to be some clearing. It's taking its time, though, so the front is going to be taking through tonight and into the start of the day for tomorrow to completely get across the Maritime region. And even areas that are starting to get behind it, like Digby, there's going to be some fog.
Not terribly fast moving.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit of a slow roller for us. Is bringing in some wet weather. Not necessarily a bad thing. Heard some complaints about the June weather, but we're actually sitting in most parts halfway through the month at less than 50% of the average amount of rain for the month. So a couple more rainy weather systems wouldn't be a miss right now. Let's take a look at what's going on across the country. Well, we're a little bit cooler today. It's quite warm out in parts of the south coast of BC. Vancouver right now sitting at 27 degrees. There's a little bit of ridge starting to build back up through parts of the prairies, so some pretty mild temperatures there. We've got 23 at Calgary right now and Saskatoon. It's cooler at Winnipeg. They're not underneath that ridge. They're seeing rain right now and 13 degrees. Moving off towards the east, it's low 20s in parts of southern Ontario. Ottawa, though, sitting at 17 degrees. 20 at Montreal this hour. 17 at Quebec City reporting rain, so some rain showers in Labrador. 10 degrees at Labrador City and 13 in Happy Valley, Goose Bay. 10 with a mix of sun and cloud at St. John's. Then here in the Maritimes, we've got showers, drizzle, and fog. 18 at Charlottetown, 16 at Fredericton, and 13 at Halifax. Here's a look at the continued showers that will be making their way across the region. Once again, low risk of some small embedded thunderstorms within those showers, mostly for central and eastern areas of Nova Scotia as we move through tonight and into Tuesday morning. Now, going through Tuesday morning, the remaining showers will be clearing east of the Maritimes. In behind, the morning cloud cover, the morning fog will be dissipating and breaking up. The afternoon expected to be mostly a mix of sun and cloud for the region, and that's going to allow for some high temperatures to get back into the 20s. I know there were a few 20s for today. 20s will be a little bit more widespread coming up for tomorrow. Additional rainfall amounts to this weather system. In most cases, where it's just lighter showers or some drizzle and fog, it'll be a few to several millimeters. Now, if we happen to get a thunderstorm that moves directly over top of any given community, it could bump up local rainfall amounts into the range of 15 to 30 millimeters. One of the areas that's being hinted at the possibility of a downpour thunderstorm moving through tonight is right up and down the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia. Taking a look at winds in the forecast, getting behind this front, they're going to become northwest. They'll be breezy. They'll have some gusts between 20 and 40 kilometers per hour. Remember, in Cape Breton, before that change in the wind direction happens, there are expected to be some stronger wind gusts up to 90 kilometers per hour in Inverness County, and that area is underneath a wind warning. That's for Tuesday morning into early Tuesday afternoon. Most of the lows tonight will be around the low to mid single digits. Then highs in the forecast for tomorrow. 21 to 24 degrees across the north of New Brunswick, except 16 to 18 on the coast. Fredericton tomorrow, the high near 24, 23 for St. John, and then 22 degrees for Moncton, the southeast. A little bit cooler for Prince Edward Island, with high temperatures on Tuesday between 16 and 19 degrees. And another step down for temperatures in Cape Breton. High temperatures there for tomorrow, 12 to 15. Don't worry, Cape Breton, your temperatures will be coming up on Wednesday. Low 20s around the north shore of mainland Nova Scotia, on the eastern shore, on the coast, 18 to 22 degrees. Sheet Harbour tomorrow, closer to 23. 21 for Amherst and Truro for tomorrow. 24 for the city centres, Halifax and Dartmouth. In the valley, 23 degrees. Digby, that we were looking at earlier, high near 22 for tomorrow. On the south shore, 24 for Shelburne. A little bit cooler, 19 for Yarmouth. In the extended outlook for this week, Wednesday's looking like your best day if you're looking for sunnier and warmer June weather. High temperatures in New Brunswick on Wednesday, mostly mid to high 20s. Does cool a little bit on Thursday with some increasing cloudiness and a round of rain and showers arriving late in the day that will linger into Friday. Also, pretty good chance some showers to start the upcoming weekend. Chance of showers after that on Sunday. It's a lower chance, though. And Monday, a mix of sun and cloud. For Nova Scotia and the outlook coming up on Wednesday, looking mostly sunny, a lot of high temperatures, mid-20s off the coast, high teens, low 20s directly on the coastline. On Thursday, a mix of sun and cloud with some rain arriving Thursday night, finishing with some showers on Friday. About a 60% chance of showers on Saturday right now, 40% chance of showers on Sunday, and Monday, a mix of sun and cloud. And for Prince Edward Island, coming up mostly sunny on Wednesday, high temperatures near 23 degrees. Thursday, highs near 23, the mix of sun and cloud. Some rain moving in Thursday night, moving through showers on Friday. Further chance of showers at the start of the weekend on Saturday, lower chance on Sunday, and then a mix of sun and cloud on Monday of next week. Todd.
All right. Thank you, Kalen. We'll see you at the end of the show. Next, we're going to have a conversation with the new president of Doctors Nova Scotia. We'll talk about things like wait times and the general state of healthcare in the province. Don't go away.
Okay, so Stop the Pump is going to be happening 1 week from today for you chance to win some money at the gas pump.
And tomorrow around 7:30, get a shot at $100 in gas. Good luck.
Welcome back on this Monday evening. Tonight, we're pleased to be joined by Dr. Amanda McDonald-Green, newly appointed president of Doctors Nova Scotia. Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
I asked this of all your predecessors as well. What's your priority for your term?
Well, we're obviously in a huge, massive system change with healthcare, and so during my term, I'm really looking forward to being a champion for improved work system integration. So things like health home models, continued reduction in administrative burden, and also the heart part of me is really advocating for physician wellness. And I don't mean, carving out more time to go to the gym, although that's important, right, but really supporting the workflows, the ways we work that are currently contributing to burnout and looking ways to optimize that. So they really go hand in hand. It's also going to be a year for our upcoming contract negotiations, which we're hoping to start in the fall. And there's continuous systemic changes, things like OPOR. So looking forward to supporting my colleagues as we navigate this together.
All right. Do you see any potential holdup with the province in a new contract?
No, we had a really great and constructive negotiation last time around. At the time, we did interest-based negotiations where all the partners really came together, and obviously things like compensation were addressed, and we developed the new longitudinal family medicine payment model. But it also gave us an opportunity to highlight and change some of the work systems. I know that Nova Scotia Health has been working tirelessly to improve work systems as well. So I think it'll be a great opportunity to come back together again and figure out what tweaks we can make.
And all that matters, right? I mean, in terms of, we talk a lot about recruitment. I want to ask you about that in a moment. But in terms of retention, we don't hear as much about these stories of doctors deciding to close their offices or move elsewhere. So is that an indication that that aspect of it is going well?
Well, I don't have data in terms of people doing that. We know we do have an aging physician workforce. Sure. We know nationally, the Canadian Medical Association did a paper last year that showed unprecedented level of physician burnout, so 46%, with 30% indicating it negatively impacted their mental health. And so those things are really important. We've all felt that, and I know a lot of the physicians in this province are feeling it, particularly our emergency medicine colleagues. So I think that's key, but I'm also really optimistic. I think the LFN model has been really helpful in rewarding both quality of care and improvements in access and care. So we're seeing increased after-hours appointments, and we know that the way physicians want to work and the way that the direction is heading is optimization of health home models. So really looking forward to becoming part of that conversation for what health home models should look like going forward.
Let's talk about recruitment. The province has just released some numbers saying that it has brought in well over 278 positions in the past fiscal year. It works out to about 200 when you take into account those retirements that you're talking about. 33 from the U.S., and half of those, of that number, are specialists. Good sign?
Absolutely. Yeah. We're really excited and encouraged by the amount of recruitment that's been able to happen in this province, and I think part of that is some of the competitive compensation structures. And also people wanting to live and work here. It's a beautiful place, it's home. So I think there's a lot of reason for optimism. And I know the government and Nova Scotia Health and DHW, it's really mammoth what they've been able to do over the past year. And we're really commending them for that effort and looking forward to figure out, okay, now that we have more people, how do we optimize some of the workflows and how do we integrate new providers into the system together? You work in a collaborative clinic in Windsor, Nova Scotia. We've heard a lot about that is going to be the way forward. Maybe you can tell us briefly about how that's working for your clinic in particular, for your patients. When we talk about health home models, we believe that a health home model is a physician or a group of physicians working with other providers, so it may be a family practice nurse or a nurse practitioner or social work, to deliver quality care where people are working to the broadest scope of practice that they have, but it's in a coordinated fashion. And you can maintain and continue longitudinal relationships with your patients. So for myself, I work in a collaborative team in Windsor, and there's 3 other physicians. We have 2 family practice nurses and a social work. And I love what we've created, and we're a team, and we have collaboration rounds where we talk about challenging cases. But how we do it and how we came to be was very much happenstance. And a lot of my colleagues don't have that opportunity to practice in that way. And it can be, I think, very burdensome if you're by yourself, even if you're co-located, but not necessarily having the team around you to support it. So when we see that, we also see, there's 2 factors. So there's access to care, and then there's attachment. Because I have people around me, we are able to attach more patients to the clinic, and they have better access. So we have more same-day appointments, more urgent spots. The family practice nurse can often do, some of the visit where otherwise they might have to wait for me. So it's been fun. Oh, good. Got about 30 seconds left. Big rollout of one patient, one record. There was some concern that when it was rolled out at the IWK that there were issues, but it's been a few weeks now. What have you heard from your colleagues about it? I think with anything new, there's always going to be kinks to be worked out, and different areas, I think, have had a little bit more of a challenge in the workflow, but overall, it's been much more positive than we had anticipated. And I know that they have done so much learning from the rollout in IWK and made a lot of improvements, and they've been very responsive. So Doctors Nova Scotia has continuously advocated for the physicians and their role in that, and will continue to do so, but it's been better than expected thus far. All right, that's good to hear. Dr. Amanda McDonald-Green, President of Doctors Nova Scotia, thank you for your time. Thank you for having me. Appreciate you coming in. We'll take a time out. We'll be back with much more of your show after this.
In medical news, how common is social anxiety disorder? A Canadian study looks at who's most affected. CTV's Amanda Debison has the details in tonight's edition of The Lifeline.
A new study from the University of Toronto suggests nearly 1 in 7 adults are affected by social anxiety disorder. That rate is up 71% since 2002. The condition is characterized as crippling fear of being judged or embarrassed in social situations and can degrade quality of life and career progression. Social anxiety disorder was found to be more common in women, those who were born in Canada, those who never married or were widowed, separated, or divorced, and those who experienced childhood sexual or physical abuse. It was also 4 times more common in those between ages 20 and 24 compared to people aged 65 and older. Congo's Ministry of Health confirms Ebola cases in Congo have increased to 782, with 181 deaths. The outbreak, declared on May 15th, is caused by a rare form of the virus without an approved vaccine or treatment. The outbreak is concentrated in eastern parts of Congo and has spread to Uganda. Finally, it's now been a decade since MAID was first introduced in Canada. MAID legislation was passed by the House of Commons to allow eligible adults to request the process. Doctors say Quebec paved the way for medical assistance in dying in this country and now has the highest MAID rate in the world. Medically assisted deaths made up 7.9% of all deaths in Quebec in 2024-25, while across Canada, the rate was 5.1%. With Health and Medical News, I'm Amanda Debison for The Lifeline.
With Aaron and Peter.
A Halifax Music Fest is coming up at the end of the month, and we want to send you on us.
Tickets, a great hotel, spending money, all the details at move100halifax.ca.
We have to inform you that tonight and again tomorrow we are not able to bring you the business report. It's not being provided to us, but it's back on Wednesday. Still, we can look at the closing market numbers. First, the Toronto Stock Exchange closed the first day of the trading week, up 337 points. The Dow in New York closed up as well at 468. And the Canadian dollar changed hands down very slightly today against the U.S. greenback at 71.52 cents U.S. Kayla Mitchell just dashed outside with the umbrella. Didn't think you were going to need it, but there it is, right?
Yeah, shower coming through right now. It's going to be like this tonight in the Maritimes with some showers, drizzle, and fog. Let's take a look at your picture for tonight, though. And this is a beautiful shot coming in from Elizabeth Tomlick from Rainbow Haven Beach, Nova Scotia. This is from today. This is a very liminal-looking picture here. That is the fog that has been thick around coastal areas. I want to thank Elizabeth very much for taking the time to share that with us. Nearby, Cow Bay for tomorrow. Can expect a little more sunshine. Mix of sun and cloud after some morning fog dissipates, and the high temperature will be near 20 degrees. Day planner for tomorrow, first thing in the morning, we'll have what's left of this wet weather clearing eastern parts of the Maritimes. That will happen morning up until around noon. In behind it, the cloudy, foggy start to the day for the remainder of the Maritimes will break to a mix of sun and cloud for Tuesday afternoon. Breezy northwest wind for tomorrow. A lot of high temperatures coming up to the high teens and low 20s. And then ends up being a little bit cooler in Cape Breton tomorrow, highs of 12 to 15 degrees. Let's find out what's ahead on your Morning Atlantic.
Tuesday on your Morning Atlantic, summer heat safety for pets.
Heat stroke can be a real issue for pets as the temperatures climb. We'll get timely tips in this week's Pet Talk.
Start your morning with us Tuesday on your Morning Atlantic on CTV2 and Crave.
Then at 6 with the World Cup in Canada and on the heels of the Winter Olympics, there's a lot of focus on sports in Canada. So are Maritime kids getting into the game or are they on the sideline? We'll talk about that tomorrow in your newscast. And finally for us tonight, and while the world focuses on soccer, there was still hockey being played until last night.
1:10 to go. The net is empty. Ehlers scores! Nikolai Ehlers!
The Carolina Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup last night with a 3-0 win over the Golden Knights in Las Vegas. A couple of Maritime Q League alumni hoisted the cup. For the first time, the Canes did that in 20 years. Former Halifax Moosehead star Nikolai Ehlers, who scored that empty netter, celebrated the win with one-time Cape Breton Eagle William Carrier. It was Carrier's second cup. He won with Las Vegas back in 2023. We certainly offer congratulations to both. That is our look at the day here at home. Bruce Frisco in this chair with the late update at 11:30. The web and the app have updates anytime. I'm Todd Battis. Hope to see you tomorrow. Good night.
CTV News, the Maritime's #1 newscast. Watch live on Crave.